أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم، وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، ولعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I want to pay my condolences to Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi. May Allah hasten his reappearance. And to you mu'mineen and mu'minat on the martyrdom of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his companions. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. All praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to attend majlis in this lockdown. Now you mu'mineen and mu'minat are listening to my majlis within your houses, and your houses have become azakhana. Your houses have become the place where we have heard from ulamas that when we are commemorating the martyrdom of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, or when we are arranging majalis within our houses or anywhere, we have heard this from ulamas that the ma'asumeen attend those majalis. And hopefully here I'm sitting by myself and my wife and my little daughter Zainab. Hopefully we'll have attendance of the ma'asumeen inshallah, and have their blessings within our houses, within our lifestyles. And likewise, I wish, and I know for sure when the ulama say this, they don't make up stuff. They say this from the riwayat, from the traditions. And from that perspective, without any doubt, some of your houses, the ma'asumeen attend. And please remember everyone in your prayers during the majalis, and listen to the majalis carefully, and if you can, take notes too. Coming towards our topic, the topic that inshallah we'll discuss tonight is the importance and the influence of Azadari, or the remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, or the majalis. Without any doubt, we have seen and we have heard many great influences that the remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein had and has and will have. Before getting into the topic, I would like to say this, that the incident of Karbala, the sacrifice of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his companions, has a great effect upon the survival of Islam itself. Because at the time of Yazid, la'natullah alayh, he basically did everything against Islam, and he was named Khalifatul Muslimin, Khalifay Muslimin, the leader of Muslims. So there's a great discussion involved in this part, and inshallah in future nights we will discuss this more. Tonight I won't really get into this part of the discussion, that how Abu Abdullah al-Hussein sacrificed to save Islam. And that is the greatest, one of the greatest aims and goals of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, that at that time he was about to finish. Or at least if someone comes and says, no, it wasn't about to finish, at least the Islam would have been a different Islam. And until now, if Abu Abdullah al-Hussein didn't do anything at that time, we would have, right now, I don't know what kind of Islam we would have had. So we won't get into this part of it. But we know that Azadari is happening all around the world. Now, some of the simple things, we might say, Agha, this is simple stuff, why are you discussing it? The reason of discussing some of the simple things are that we remind ourselves that these are the great things that are happening, and these are the great things which will provide the ground for the reappearance of Imam of our time. Because we have another Hussein waiting for us. We usually say we are waiting for Imam Mahdi Ajallallahu Ta'ala for Sharif, but in reality he's waiting for us. Now we all know that Azadari Majalis is happening all around the world. Sometimes we have to think about all this, that in one place after Karbala there were just few remembering about Abdullah al-Hussein, and now we see millions remembering about Abdullah al-Hussein. The message, the remembrance of Abdullah al-Hussein has gone all across the world. Not just, for example, Iran, in Qom or Najaf or Mashhad. No, you see all around the world, within Pakistan, within Afghanistan, within Iraq, within Australia, within Europe, within America, within Africa. Everywhere we see there is remembrance of Abdullah al-Hussein. And everyone knows about it. And not only Shias commemorate the martyrdom of Abdullah al-Hussein, but we see our Sunni brothers are commemorating it. In many places, in Iran we see this, in Pakistan we see our Sunni brothers are commemorating. In Iraq we see this, in Iraq we see Christian brothers and the Sunni brothers. In Afghanistan, in many other places we see our Sunni brothers are commemorating the remembrance, the martyrdom of Abdullah al-Hussein. Because they have love for the Ahlul Bayt too, for the household of, for the family of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Based on the verse of Holy Quran, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. I'm not asking you anything, any reward, but mawaddat, for my near ones, the love. And we have to follow them in order to reach our ultimate perfection. So we see everyone, even Hindus. In India, if we look, we see a lot of Hindus giving away food, arranging majalis, attending majalis. I have friends here that are from India. They are the Shias of India studying here. They talk about the Hindus, how they cry about the incident of Karbala, and so on and so forth. So this incident, this tragedy of Karbala has affected everyone we see. Anyone that knows what happened or realizes or come across the tragedy of Karbala, they understand and feel the sorrow and the sadness within themselves. We see the great historian, English historian, Sir Edward Gibson, I think his name was. You look at him, the way he spoke about the incident of Ashura and Imam Hussein and the other non-Muslims. So this event has affected everyone, not just Shias. And it is a guidance for everyone too. Now, this message that has gone across the world, it is because of the sacrifices that has happened during the history, during the lives of the Shias. As I've said before too, in my other majalis, that it is within the hearts of every mu'min, the love of Hussein. And also there are other things too that kept this remembrance alive. And one of those things is the sacrifices that our ulamas and the Shias made. So the name of Abu Abdullah Hussein remains. And right now when we see, it is easy for us to go and visit Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and pay our salam, go to Najaf, not go to Karbala. Millions of people are attending now. But it wasn't easy back in the days. For example, at the time of Bani Abbas, it was really hard to be the pilgrimage of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Especially at the time of Mutawakkil. He was very strict. He even tried to destroy the grave of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and he did. But still we have the remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. People gave their hand, people gave their leg, people gave their life, so the remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein stays. These are all the sacrifices that has happened, and now we have the remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. A lot of sacrifices have been made that we have this remembrance, that we have the understanding of the Battle of Karbala. And this love for Hussein, this sacrifice for Hussein wasn't accidental. It wasn't just something, just two things collided with one another and love came out of it. It wasn't accidental. Or we can't just say that it was because we have the love of Hussein. That is one part of it. But there are other reasons too. That we have the love within our hearts. Another important thing that kept this Azadari alive is the emphasis and the recommendation of their Holy Prophet and the Imams regarding arranging Azadari, regarding visiting Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and remembering him, his companions and his message. We have tons of tradition ahadith regarding remembering Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, or even paying a salam. There's a tradition saying that if you pay a salam to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, you get the reward of a Hajj and Umrah. If someone truly pays that salam from the heart, he gets this reward. And there are many traditions regarding Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. That arranging majalis, how many rewards you will get here and hereafter. And this is the first thing that our Imams and the Holy Prophet emphasized. And secondly, through their actions, they showed that we have to remember Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They used to take majalis within their houses. They used to give reward to the people who used to recite eulogies for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Marcia Khan, Noha Khan, all of them. Our Imam used to encourage them. Our Imams used to give them money and other gifts. Our Imams used to arrange majalis. They kept it alive. Imam Rada alayhi salam says, whenever Muharram used to arrive, my father Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, we wouldn't see him in a state of happiness. So they showed through the action. There is another thing that this remembrance kept going. Now the question is, what are the effects, or what effects these azadaris had or have or will have on our lives? What are the effects? The importance and the effects will be discussed together. We also see the importance of it from the traditions, and on top of that from the actions of our Imam. Before getting deep into the question, answering the question, let's have an introduction. We believe this, that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the greatest person, or has the greatest status. And I ask you this question, brothers, when Rasulullah passed away and until now, do we mourn the way we mourn on the martyrdom of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? Or in other words, that do we do azadari the way we do for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? After Rasulullah, we believe in this, that Imam Ali is the greatest, has the highest status. The Imams have said this themselves, that Imam Ali has a high status. Even when Imam Ali was martyred, yes, we do mourn and have majalis, but it is can we compare this with the azadari that we have for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? Or why haven't we have traditions the way we have for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein regarding visiting him? We have, for example, why don't we have it for Amir al-Mu'mineen, for example, or the other Aimma? We have it for them too, but not as we have for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The question is, why Hussein? Why Hussein? We have tradition saying that Hazrat Adam, at the time of Hazrat Adam, until the end, they've cried. We have tradition saying that the prophets, the angels, and everything cried for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. We have another tradition from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have to think about all this, my brothers. Sometimes, especially in Muharram, after Namaz al-Fajr, think about it. Before Namaz al-Fajr, think about all this. That who is Hussein? Another tradition by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says, "Husaynu minni wa ana min al-Husayn." Now this tradition, the first part is very simple. It is understandable that Husaynu minni, meaning Rasulullah is saying this. Husaynu minni, Hussein is from me. Yes, okay, we get this. Hussein is from whom? From you, Ya Rasulullah, yes. And then he says, Ana min al-Hussein, and I am from Hussein. Hussein is from me. I understood that part, Ya Rasulullah. But when you say, Ana min al-Hussein, and I'm from Hussein, please explain this part. Rasulullah is the chosen one to lead the Muslim Ummah, to lead the humanity. Ali is the chosen one to lead the humanity. Hassan is the chosen one, and Hussein is the chosen one. They are Noor Wahid. These are all great traditions that we have. Even in Ahl Sunnah we have many traditions like this. And another tradition that we have this, إن الحسين مصباح الهدى وسفينة النجاة. Now this tradition is long, but I've taken just some part of it that we know. The tradition is longer. That Hussein is the light of guidance and the ark of salvation. Kashti Najat and Chirag Hidayat is Hussein alayhi salam. Is given to Hussein alayhi salam. Now, this has been said by our other Imams too. For example, in Ziyarat Jamia, we have this regarding all our Imams, that they are light of guidance, that they are ark of salvation. But some of the things are given to Abdullah al-Hussein. One of the reasons is that it was because of the personality, the noble personality of Abdullah al-Hussein. And secondly, is the condition that Imam Hussein was in, the conditions that he faced. Now, according to our belief, and according to the traditions and riwayat and hadith, if Imam Hassan was in the place of Imam Hussein, he would have done the same thing. If for example, Imam Jafar as-Sadiq was in the place of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he would have done the same thing. Likewise, if Imam Hussein was in the place of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam, he would have done exactly the same thing as Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam did. The difference we see within the approaches, within the actions, is because of the conditions they are in. That is why we see the difference between the actions, because of the conditions they are in. Some people, na'uz billah, say Imam Hassan was a bit, I can't even say the word. But if we look at it, when Imam Hassan was martyred, Muawiyah was the Khalifa at that time, forcefully. And until when Yazid became the Khalifa, and the Muawiyah's time, and the Imamat of Imam Hussein started at the time of Muawiyah, 10 years Imam Hussein exactly did what Imam Hassan alayhi salam did. Until when Yazid became the Khalifa, and then he stood. The conditions were there for the Qiyam, for the uprising. So we have this belief. And secondly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave these conditions to Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. In other words, Allah destined for Abdullah al-Hussein. Allah gave him, Allah put him in that trial. And if other Imams were in that situation, they would have done the same thing. Now coming to our main points. The points are, what are the influences or what are the great positive effects that we have from the Azadari? Let's discuss this. The first point, as I mentioned before, and we will talk about it later, is that the effect of this incident was the revival, the survival of Islam. That's the first thing. Very important. And inshallah we'll talk about it later. Secondly, one of the other effects I could say is the miracles or the benevolence of Hussein alayhi salam during the majalis or visiting Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, so on and so forth. There are hundreds of true stories regarding the miracles, how people who were sick, the doctors told them off that we can't do anything about it anymore. They visited Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They took majalis and they survived or they became cured. One of the stories I would like to mention is the story of Grand Ayatollah Brujardi, rahmatullah alayh. He had an eye problem and he went to doctors and so on and so forth, but they couldn't do anything about it. So he said that I took the dirt, usually he said the dirt that the Azadar used to put on their forehead, I took the dirt and I tawassul with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and I rubbed it on my eyes. And that cured me. And I never had problem with my eyes again, ever. And we have many stories like this, true stories. It depends on the person. If you're going to believe it, good. If you're not going to believe it, up to you. It's not my problem. Or even last Muharram, we saw the incident of Aghay Anwar, Babu's father, that he was in the majlis, he was given. And we have this many stories like this, the true stories. There are many others that I know personally, but we don't have time. Inshallah, we'll move forward. Secondly, when we have majalis, when we remember Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, when we cry for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, we have this luminous or nuraniyat, and we feel this within ourselves. Whenever we attend majalis, we cry for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, we have this nuraniyat after the majalis within ourselves, and we feel it. And secondly, when we attend majalis, we have du'as which are fulfilled during our life. And Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, for the sake of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, Allah fulfills all those desires, or whatever you want to call it. And one of the things that I would like to mention here is that we have to know that some of the things that we ask for are not given immediately. Allah gives it at the best time and in the best place. And some of the things we don't see and we don't know about it. A calamity, a problem was about to happen within my life, and because of my dua and because of me taking majalis in my house, those calamities, those problems goes away for the sake of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, but we don't know about it. These are the other great importance or effects that we have from the majalis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, from the Azadari. Another thing is, thousands of people change, as I have mentioned this before too. Because of attending majalis, they get to know what Hussein stood for. And there's a lot of other changes, psychological change we have a spiritual change within the lives, within the individuals. It depends on the capacity, on the level of the person, at what level of faith or iman he is. And according to that level, he receives the blessings from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Now, me, a tiny, unknown Islamic student in Hawza, I have one type of capacity to attend majalis and get the blessings from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, the spiritual blessings. And on the other hand, we see the Urafa, for example, they attend majalis, they arrange majalis, they connect to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and they get different blessings from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. So everyone, according to their own capacity, they get from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, especially the spiritual blessings. And for that blessings, we need to work hard, my brothers. It is not easily given. We have to do a lot of hard work, self-purification, soul purification, in order to receive those high spiritual status. And Urafas get it from the Ahlul Bayt. That is why we see Ayatollah Qazi Rahma alayh, a great Arif. He says, I've reached these great places, this great status of perfection because of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. So people change. Some change is small, but it depends on the person. For example, another change for a youth is he used to, for example, disobey his parents. And after attending majalis, he stops disobeying his parents. He starts being respectful towards his parents. I always say this with myself, that I wish we had statistics after majalis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Like we have statistics, for example, I'll give you an example. In 1 year, in 2008, for example, in Australia, how many people committed suicide? They have a statistic, for example, 3,000 something. And they also see that within youth, the suicide rate is very high. And one of the top reasons of the suicide is depression, for example. And we have these statistics. And we pay great respect towards psychologists, towards psychiatrists, towards counselors. Based on what? Why? Because we see they are the doctors of what? The doctors of depression, anxiety, and so on and so forth. Other disorders. And they are there to help people. But I always wish from the day that majalis started until now, I wished we had the statistics that how many people were okay after attending majalis. They had depression, they had anxiety, they had different psychological and spiritual problems, but after attending majalis, they had no problem. They were happy with their lives after the majalis. They healed when they came to majalis. I wish we had these statistics. And that would have been a great evidence that we could show to the people that see. Look at the zikr, the remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The zikr is healing people. Healing the people who are depressed, who has anxiety. Unfortunately, we don't have these statistics. But we have many stories like this. We hear from people that I had depression when I remembered Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Everything went away. Whenever I have hardship within my life, I remember Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and the tragedy of Karbala. Everything goes away from me. We never see these blessings, these beautiful positive effects that it has within one's life. Psychological disorders is a huge problem right now, everywhere in the world. And Hussein's majalis is a therapy. But we don't get it. We don't talk about it. Or how many family problems there were And after the majalis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, it was solved between the family members. Husband had problem with wife. Wife had problem with husband. After majalis, for the sake of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, they solved their problems and they are living happily. A brother didn't used to talk to another brother, or brother didn't used to talk to his sister, or other family problems. Because of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, everything was solved after majalis. I wish we had these statistics from the day that we had majalis. Or I wish we had the statistics that many people had bad habits, such as drinking alcohol, such as disrespecting towards the elders. After the majalis, they changed. They stopped drinking alcohol. They started respecting their elders. I wish we had these statistics, my brothers. How many people understood the reality of life, the understanding of life, and how to live? I wish we had these statistics. That people had no meaning towards living, but when they came to a majalis, they listened what Abu Abdullah al-Hussein is, what his aim is, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, and what is the meaning of life. They found life, they found meaning within their lives, and they changed, and they start living. And according to Islam, we have to reach the ultimate perfection, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the most highest level of perfection. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein's majalis, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein's remembrance, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein's sacrifice taught us all this. Taught us how to live, to have a goal within your life, to have a higher goal. Now we humans, we want the greatest pleasure. We are after it. It is within us. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein came and said, the greatest pleasure is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have been created like this. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein said, why are you selling yourself for the least pleasures of the world? They are temporary. I'm going to show you what the ultimate pleasure is. Come towards that. You have to get rid of these small pleasures. You have to step on them in order to reach that ultimate perfection, in order to reach that ultimate pleasure. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein showed this towards the mu'mineen. He was the one. And I wish we had these statistics that people changed and know the meaning of life. And knew the meaning of life, what living is. I wish we had these statistics, how many people changed and stopped oppressing. Now, oppressing doesn't only mean that Yazid and his soldiers. Oppressing also means once you come to the house and be cruel towards your family, towards your wife, children. To be unethical towards your friend, towards your father, mother, brother, sister. This is a type of oppression too. People changed because of remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, because of his message, because of the values that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein taught us. All these changes happen within my life. I wish we had these statistics of millions of people that this remembrance had upon everyone. I wished we had the statistics that how many people learned that we have to stand against oppression. You go and see a non-Muslim's story, Gandhi, the leader of the Indian people, how he praises Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and says Abu Abdullah al-Hussein is role model for me when it comes to the hardship. A Muslim personality such as Imam Khomeini rahmatullah alayhi, he kicked hundreds of years of kingship of Shah and all those powers. And then he says, I learned it from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. I learned it from him how to stand against oppression, how to take my haqq, my right from an oppressor. I wish we had the statistics. How many people changed and start giving importance to the religion and to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before majalis, they didn't care about namaz, they didn't care about giving khums, they didn't care about other commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But after majalis, after members of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, after they saw what in the worst situation in the battlefield, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein prayed, and then that change happened. I wish we have these statistics, that how many people changed from a so-called Muslim, they became a pure Muslim. I wish we had these statistics, that how many people didn't used to pay money to the poor people, didn't used to give charity, but after remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, after majalis, they started giving charity to the poor. I wished that we had statistics that how many lives were saved because of blood donation that is happening in the name of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. I wish we had those statistics. I wish we had those statistics that how many people were fed by the name of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. There are hundreds of people who are poor by the name of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. People are helping them because they learned it from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. How many people learned the true meaning of honor and integrity, the true meaning of love and compassion, the true meaning of selflessness and submission towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the true meaning of iman, faith, the true meaning of social justice and freedom. I wish we had these statistics after the majalis, after the azadari. These great influences that this azadari had upon our lives, upon the society as a whole. And of course, on the way, people tried to distort the azadari. And to some extent, to some parts, they did. They succeeded. But we have to stand against those distortions in harafat. Don't let it come into the azadari. Stop it. Try to stop it. Because those distortions sometimes make the azadari, give the azadari the bad name, unfortunately. And the enemies help this and fund all this stuff. And it is Hussein's sacrifice, my brothers, that teaches us that we have to prepare ourselves for Imam Mahdi Ajallallahu Ta'ala Farajul Sharif. Now, I have this talking with myself sometimes that Nastajiru billah, Na'udhu billah, God forbid, if our Imam reappears, and even after understanding Ashura, and I don't purify myself for the reappearance of my Imam, if I don't work for the reappearance of my Imam, and I do exactly the same thing as the Kufans did with my Imam, what excuse can I give on the Day of Judgment to Rasulullah, to Fatima Zahra Salamullah Alaiha, to them? What excuse can I give? Imam Hussein, he did everything for us. And now we have no excuse that we don't stand beside our Imam. And there are many other importance too. Now making it short because I'm running out of time. Another very important question. Why are there people that we see that are against Azadari? We have to ask these questions from ourselves. Why do we see that people are against Azadari? I'll go really quickly because I don't have time to go through this too. I was thinking with myself that why we see people are against Azadari. Maybe they have grudge, kina. Very bad. May Allah guide them. Maybe it's because of our actions. Because I'm not a good Azadar. When people see me, they say like, I'm not coming towards Azadari. But this is not a good excuse for anyone to say that I'm against Hussein, I'm against Azadari because of some Azadar. If you're against these Azadar, for example, me, Mullah or Sheikh or Islamic student, whatever you want to call it, if it's because of me, you're not doing Azadari or you're against Azadari, then you do your way of Azadari. You did your way of Azadari. You arrange your way of Azadari within your houses. So we could see that, yeah, you're with Hussein. You like the values of Hussein. You're not against Azadari. Because if you're against Azadari, against Imam Hussein, you're against the values, the great values of Hussein alayhi salam. So this could be one of the reasons, because of us. And we have to be a better Azadar, my brothers and sisters. Because, in other words, we are representing Abu Abdullah al-Hussein in a sense. Another reason could be, maybe they are oppressors themselves. That is why they are enemy of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Because Abu Abdullah al-Hussein stood against the people who were oppressors. They used to oppress people's benefits. The worldly benefits and the hereafter benefits. So if maybe some of the people are against Azadari because they are oppressors. Like Yazid, like the soldiers of Yazid. That is why they are against Azadari. Or maybe they are nationalists. Why? Because Hussein is Arab. Hussein is not Hazara. We get this, unfortunately. Why don't you accept, oh, Baba, he was Arab, live in. The way the Jews did when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came and said that I'm the Prophet, I'm the last messenger. The Jews knew, they had this within their book too, that the last messenger and the signs of the last messenger, they knew the Prophet, the last messenger is him. But they didn't accept him. You know why? Because he wasn't Jews. Because he was an Arab. This could be another reason. Maybe they are enemy of Azadari and Hussein because the message of Hussein is harming their worldly interests. These could be the reasons. Now, my brothers and sisters, tonight is the 4th night of Muharram. And one of the family that gave everything to Islam and to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein is the family of al-Banin, Salamullah alayha. al-Banin had 4 sons, Abu al-Fazl al-Abbas and the other 3. And al-Banin was given the name al-Banin, meaning mother of sons. And after Karbala, she said, don't call me anymore, because I have no sons anymore. And she had a daughter. And the husband of her daughter, her son-in-law was Muslim ibn Aqil. And Muslim ibn Aqil, again, he sacrificed himself for Abdullah al-Hussein for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And his 4 sons. 2 sons that Muslim ibn Aqil took him towards Kufa, and 2 that came with Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. They all got martyred. And the daughter of al-Banin came with Lady Zainab salamullah alayha, a family that gave everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. O the mourners of Abdullah al-Hussein, tonight is a very sad night. Tonight is a very painful night. The narrators say that when the sons of Muslim escaped the prison, they went to get some water. On the way, they used to hide from one place to another place because they were just children. They were just children. When they got to the water, they drank water, and they saw a lady, an old lady. When the lady saw the children, the 2 children of Muslim ibn Aqil, the lady told the children of Muslim ibn Aqil told the lady that do not tell anyone about us. But the old lady said to the children that don't worry, don't be scared. She took them with herself towards her house and gave them refuge, like the other lady that gave refuge to their father. But unfortunately, some narrators say either the son or husband of this house was one of the soldiers of Ibn Ziyad, or one of the workers of Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad has told everyone that if you bring the children of Muslim, I'll give you reward, I'll give you reward. This person came to the house and told the lady that 2 children have escaped from the prison of Ibn Ziyad, and Ibn Ziyad has said that I'll reward the person who brings these children dead. Now he finds out that the 2 children are hiding here. So he takes them, he drags the 2 children towards the river of Furat. There he asked the 2 children that I'm gonna kill you. The 2 children says that, why do you want to kill us? Don't you know that we are children of Muslim? Don't you know we are family of Rasulullah? Why do you want to kill us? The person says, the accused person, the cursed person says that I want to get the reward. The 2 children of Muslim ibn Aqil says that you can get the money if you take us and sell us somewhere. At least we're not gonna die. But this person says, no, I'm gonna take you dead towards Ibn Ziyad. These 2 children again says that, oh, why do you want to kill us? Don't you know that we are from the family of Rasulullah? If by saying all this your heart is not softened, at least look at our age. We are young children and you want to kill us. Take us alive towards Ibn Ziyad, but they didn't listen to the children. And you know what they did to the children of Muslim Ibn Aqil? The narrators say they tied their legs and everything so they don't escape, and they cut the heads off these children. They severed the children. Now we have heard this in Islamic Sunnah that if you want to slaughter an animal, make sure the other animal is not watching the other animal being slaughtered. But here, my brothers and sisters, when one brother is being beheaded, the other brother is watching. This cursed person takes the two heads of these children towards Ibn Ziyad, and Ibn Ziyad didn't give him any reward. على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الإخلاص والصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل